thoughts I have on quarterbacks in the league. Jameis Winston, I think he's the most exciting player in the NFL right now. Most entertaining player. This is a guy, quoting Danny Perkins on, Breakfast Ball. He said, Jameis Winston, you want to see him as a starting quarterback, but you don't want to see him as your starting quarterback. And that's very true. Jameis Winston gave us a full Jameis Winston experience, the 30 for 30. Shit that we don't see too often. You rarely see a quarterback throw a 70-yard bomb touchdown and then a pick six the next fucking play. Damn near the next couple plays. And then he had 2 pick sixes in this game against the Broncos. Should have had 3. Shout out Jerry Jeudy for making a play and stopping that linebacker Cody Barton, I believe. He was about to take an interception back to the crib. But Jameis Winston, 497 yards passing, 4 passing touchdowns. He just makes the game so much fun to watch. And the passion he plays with, the passion he brings in the interviews, the post-game in the interview where he's saying, God deliver me from pick sixes. You can't get content and entertainment like that from another starting quarterback. It's only Jameis. He definitely elevates the Cleveland Browns offense. In 7 games with Deshaun Watson, they failed to score 20 points. And in the 5 games Jameis Winston has started, 3 out of those 5 games, they scored 20 plus points. Against the Broncos, 34 points. 29 points they scored against Baltimore and they won. Against Pittsburgh, they scored 24 points. He's put up some really good performances and beat some really good football teams, division opponents, stepping in as starting quarterback. He's elevated the play of all the receivers on this offense as well. Jerry Jeudy has the most receiving yards since week 8, 614 yards. He had 235 against the Denver Broncos. Huge performance, huge revenge performance from him. And his connection with Jameis Winston, it's nice. We see him actually be a receiver one. We see the Jerry Jeudy we thought we were going to get coming out of Alabama. This is, Alabama Jerry Jeudy. And he was physical in this game against the Broncos. He was, clutch, making hella plays for the Browns, offense, and the go-to guy. I see that continuing on further on. Elijah Moore, too. He had 114 yards receiving, 8 catches. And in the 5 games Jameis Winston has started, he's had a couple decent performances. A 66-yard performance, an 85-yard performance, and the 111-yard performance, he had against Denver. So great performances out of him. Jerry Jeudy, 2 guys that they traded for. Njoku, he's been big. He's been getting a lot of targets. I think he had 17 targets against the Denver Broncos. So all of the playmakers for the Cleveland Browns are eating a lot more with Jameis Winston. And in the locker room, I feel buys in a lot more to Jameis Winston. So this should be their starting quarterback moving forward. He is a passionate leader. He is a guy that's going to put up points defensively. I feel like if they get a couple more stops, they beat the Denver Broncos, a really good football team. So it came down to a couple plays. Obviously, Jameis Winston throwing those pick sixes. He's got to stop that. With Jameis Winston, you could beat the Baltimore Ravens. You could beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's a good starting quarterback. This is who they should be starting next year over Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson honestly shouldn't be back in the building. They should probably, maybe draft a quarterback. Maybe Jalen Milroe. That's a guy they draft to develop him. Or maybe you stick with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. That's an option too, but Jameis Winston should be the starting guy moving forward. He's up and down, but the talent is still there. The talent is there mixed with a little ass. Hopefully these last couple games he continues to play well and he gets a shot to be their guy moving forward, at least for next season. The Atlanta Falcons, Kirk Cousins, 4 interceptions in the last game. He's the reason they lost to the Chargers. That was a winnable game. Chargers offense struggled. They couldn't get anything going downfield. They couldn't do much of anything. J.K. Dobbins got hurt too, and the Falcons couldn't capitalize off of it. The Falcons' worst defense in the NFL when it comes to getting after the quarterback, they actually had 5 sacks in this game. So something like that happening usually doesn't happen for them. He couldn't capitalize off of it. Kirk Cousins leads the NFL in interceptions. Hasn't thrown a touchdown in a while. He's been really mediocre the last couple weeks, costing them victories, costing them potentially winning their division. They're 6-6 right now, tied with the Bucks, but they beat the Bucks twice, and it could still not mean nothing. Those 2 victories against the Bucks, because losing game after game because your quarterback can't move, taking a lot of hits, can't move. He's a statue in the pocket, getting sacked a lot, and he's turning the ball over at a crazy rate. I know they have Minnesota this week. I think Minnesota, this defense is going to put on a masterclass on Kirk Cousins, Brian Flores. It might be a bad game for Kirk Cousins, and if it is, Michael Penix Jr. should be starting the next week. I wouldn't start him this week because Minnesota, it's a bad matchup for a rookie quarterback to start against unless you're Caleb Williams. Michael Penix Jr. the last 4 games, he should be your starting quarterback. He gives you a better opportunity to win. He can extend plays with his legs, more mobile in the pocket. He does some of the great things Kirk Cousins gives you, but he's going to be able to move around a lot more. And why not see what the future looks like? You're not tied to Kirk Cousins' contract forever, so you can move off from him. I think this is something that the Falcons should consider, something they should do the last 4 games, because the last 4 games for them on the schedule, the Raiders, Giants, Washington, Carolina, these are 4 games you can win and still have a shot and making the playoffs. And Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, the offensive coordinator Zach Robinson has done a great job. The defense hasn't been doing too bad. They just need to get after the quarterback a little better. Secondary solid. So if they make this change, the division is still theirs, potentially. Some people thought the NFC North was going to be the worst division in football this season. They thought it was going to be as bad as the NFC South.